Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bali Confidential podcast. My name's Iden. I'm joined by my Uncle Dustin.
Dustin.
How you doing, Dustin?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
And he's right next to Christopher Elliott, my father, and I'm right next to Aaron Elliott, my brother. How are you all doing today?
Wonderful.
We're doing great. And guess where we are?
Since I'm the guest of honor.
You guest honor.
Okay. The listeners won't believe where we are. We are in the wonderful island of Bali,
Indonesia.
Yes. And it is wonderful, and it's crazy too.
And we're drinking a rasa melon. Rasa means flavor, I believe. We're drinking melon juice.
You speak Indonesian now. That's good.
Yeah, I speak Bahasa Indonesia.
So we made it all the way from Auckland, New Zealand, to Bali, to Denpasar. And we've got some stories to tell about that because we actually ended up flying on Qantas. This is the first time we were ever on Qantas.
We got to see the first class lounge.
We did get to see the first class lounge. We're working on a video about that.
Yes.
But it was a pretty interesting experience, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a striking difference between business class and first class in regards to the service. You know, you're treated you're treated like a king in first class.
They do have some pretty good service for Qantas. And they also this week introduced that new Airbus that's going to fly between, I think it's New York and where are they flying to? They're just Sydney, I guess. And it's like incredible. It's a 21-hour trip, nonstop.
Crazy.
That's a long trip.
That's a long trip. It is, and they even have economy class in there. Can you imagine sitting in economy class for 21 hours?
But with Qantas, I believe your experience is quantified.
That's fun.
That's a good one.
He's a comedian. We got a comedian with us.
So here we are in Bali now.
Yeah.
And what do you guys think?
Well, first impressions, it's very different from really any other country you've been to so far.
It's very different, yeah.
The traffic is crazy.
No sidewalks.
No sidewalks.
Yeah, there's a lot of things here that we've just never seen before.
Food is very inexpensive.
Oh,
Food
yeah.
is great.
Yes, usually.
In fact, actually, the worst food we had was the most expensive we had, and then the best we had was some of the cheapest. It's kind of like inverted here. Go to the cheap places, honestly.
But you know what I think? I think because we haven't seen Dustin in a whole year, Dustin has not been on our podcast for a whole year. We should just ask Dustin.
More than a year.
What have you been doing, Dustin?
I've been traveling. I was fortunate enough to have gone to Nepal and northern India and southern India.
You're on summer break.
So I'm on my break.
Yeah.
So I've been painting a lot. That's what I do, and so I have one more year of graduate school, and then I'm done after that. And I'm really excited to jump in
to finish
head first
into
the art world and also be done with academia. And I think most of the listeners understand and can read behind the lines when I say I'm really ready to be done with academia.
Yeah.
You mean behind the scenes? Between the lines.
Sorry, guys.
The shadow people.
Between the scenes.
Between the lines.
Between the lines.
For all the people listening, you understand when I say these things.
Yeah, we knew what you were saying.
Well, Aaron and I are also in academia towards the end. Well, at least for our current degrees. And I would agree with that. I'm very ready to be done with academia.
Yeah, me too. I'm done paying the bills.
We got two comedians
for
now.
academia. Yeah.
So, guys, I'd like to ask you something related to that. Today, right now, in the moment, what was your experience? Is your experience in Indonesia? Because we've had a pretty interesting day today.
We have, yeah. We went to a hotel called Soulshine.
Yeah.
And I'm working on a story for one of my outlets about Bali hotels, specifically Bali luxury hotels. And this was an interesting place.
I loved meeting the owner. The hotel is owned by Michael Franti and his wife, Sara, though Sara does most of the management, and it was a pleasure meeting her at the hotel and watching her speak to the first female excursion of the hotel. They're now doing excursions.
It was a retreat. No, it was a retreat. Yes.
Oh, retreat.
It was an all women's retreat.
I'm getting that mixed up because they also do cruises there.
And we were invited to this retreat, which was very interesting because we are not women.
We are not women.
In case you were wondering.
We are not women.
No.
It's like being in a Target there. Target, it has the most the highest female to male ratio out of any grocery store in the U.S.
Yeah.
For every one male, there's like 11 females in Target. It's crazy.
Aaron, what did you think?
Well, I really liked her story, actually. The owner of that resort, she worked as a nurse in a uranium mine in Canada,
That was a
where
very
it would
interesting
get
story.
to negative 20 degrees. And I thought to myself, wow, that's a real experience. Most people don't get to do those sort of very secluded work and do something as important. And so she had this experience, and of course now she's, with other experience in life, she's created this really interesting resort. And the resort has a lot of music. It's a very beautiful place, and one of the interesting parts of it is that as a resort and as having a focus on healing, you could actually go out to the rice fields on your own and harvest rice with everyone else. And I thought that is a really interesting experience, because I feel like when you're dealing with luxury, a lot of people, they don't want to touch that stuff. But here, it's an actual offering, which I think is really unique.
Yeah.
Welcome to the rice fields.
And Dustin, you actually went into the pool. What did you think of that?
It was an infinity pool that overlooked a bunch of palm trees and rice paddies.
Yes.
And it was very scenic, and it was very nice. It was a very long pool, and there's also a slide. And it was a slide that invited the guests to become and tap into their inner child and kind of have a playground, and just, and she was encouraging people to use the slide no matter what age they are. So I thought that was interesting, and the slide was really fun. And it was a playful, very playful pool, but also yet very, very nice.
Before I forget, we should do our weekly question.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, since this was like a real, I would say it was a culture shock going from Auckland to Denpasar, I would love to know about your latest culture shock when you were on vacation, going from a place where you had something where you recognized everything, and suddenly you were in a very alien place. Because for us, I think Bali was a very alien place.
I remember when we were at the entrance to Soulshine, you said, yes, we're here under the name Elliot. And they're like, alien? No, not alien.
Yes.
Elliot,
Yeah,
alien.
I felt like that.
Do you know anybody? Alien?
Yeah.
That's
The accents
well, we
here are
don't
very
really
interesting.
speak Indonesian, Anyway, if you've ever had an experience where you felt that way, you felt like alienated, or you felt like you're in a very strange place, I'd love to hear about it. And we will, as always, read your comments in the next podcast. So let's continue talking about Bali, because there's so much. Like, Bali, people always say that it's like the best place, it's a spiritual place, and they like to come here, and the people are so nice. But there's also kind of a dark side to Bali. Let's go there. What do you not like about Bali?
I would have to say, if you're on a budget, you have to really watch your money. There's these booths, these money-changing booths, where they'll count money to you, and then they'll shovel money behind them as they're counting money. And it's almost like a card trick you see at a casino or something. So you have to be vigilant. You have to go to ATMs. Go to ATMs that are official bank ATMs that look legit. That's really important. The other one is, it's a little bit intimidating for people who aren't numerically inclined, such as myself, where you have to count many, many digits, because due to inflation, Balinese money is like thousands and thousands for $1 or $2. So get ready to count and get, I think adapting to the currency, people will take advantage of that. So make sure you count, and then little things like when you go to the airport, just know, you go to the airport and people are trying to get you to where you're going to go,
Like cab drivers,
cab drivers, have it planned out, have money ready, but maybe realize that you can barter and negotiate here. And if you have to, don't feel embarrassed to maybe write something down or get on your phone. Don't feel rushed, because people will rush you, and that's when they'll get you. So use technology to benefit you, to help you out, and I think you'll do good.
Yeah.
For me, the thing that I strongly dislike about Bali is they burn trash here.
Oh, yes.
So you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, it's going to be a beautiful day.
Yeah.
You walk outside, you take a nice deep breath of air, and it's trash that's burning. Now, they will tell you here that, oh, no, we're just burning rice in the fields. Some of that is rice. They harvest the rice and they burn it. But then you walk downtown and you realize that they're also burning trash. And that's kind of, then you go to the beach and it's kind of hazy, and that really takes away from the experience.
What I don't like is when they take advantage of the fact that everybody knows that the Balinesian currency is a lot less than the US dollar, and they take advantage of that to upcharge you because you're not even really paying attention to the money because there's so many numbers and
Lots of zeros,
you
yeah.
just
Lots of
assume
zeros.
you just assume it's a lot less. Like, for instance, when we got out to get pizza, really any shishi places do this. But when we were going out to
Wait,
get pizza,
you go out to a shishi place for food?
Yeah.
Oh man.
it's
didn't
really
know that.
expensive.
We snuck out a couple times.
Yeah.
Uncle Dustin took
Oh yeah.
you out.
He took
Okay.
he took me
That's
out
very
to a
nice
couple
of you. Okay.
And I remember we were at a traditional Indonesian place, and for all of us together, it was like $16.
Mm.
Dustin and we went over to this pizza place that was rapper themed, and I paid, and it was $10. I'm like, that seems normal. I did the conversion on my phone. That seems normal. And then on our way out, they said, "Oh, you only paid for your half. We split the checks." So Dustin has to pay for his.
scam.
So we paid $20
Oh, they got
for
you.
2 people. When if you go to a traditional Indonesian food place, which by the way, I was more full after the Indonesian place, the traditional Indonesian
So
place.
pay attention to your bill.
Wow, yeah,
Watch-
make sure
watch your
make sure
bill
that
and
they're-
And always communicate before and after.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
make sure you communicate and preface things. And
Aaron,
They
what-
will take advantage of the fact that everybody thinks this money is almost nearly meaningless because of the
Yeah.
currency exchange, but it really means a lot, and you really got to pay attention.
It means
to the
something to
numbers.
travelers.
Yeah.
I want to ask Aaron what he doesn't like about Bali. What do you not like?
Traffic. I mean, as I
Yeah.
said earlier, traffic here is nuts. When you're walking in traffic, I mean, we've had this sort of debate. Which side of the road should you walk on? Should you walk on the left, which is with traffic, or on the right, which is against traffic? And the issue is that either way, the roads are really small, too
Yeah.
small, in fact, and everyone is trying to get by. You have mopeds, motorcycles, and then you have these vans. And you have all of these really strangely formatted vehicles. So for example, you'll have on a moped, someone trying to sell food, and they'll actually put that on the back of their moped.
Or a surfboard.
Or a surfboard. A lot
Yeah.
of Australians who like surfing, they'll have a surfboard rack,
Yeah.
and that takes up space. And then you also have these people who take trash around everywhere, and those are huge vehicles. And so what I'm trying to get to is, as a pedestrian, and also because we rented a motorbike for one day, and trust me, I'm
Oh yes, I want to
very
ask
much
you
not
about that
inclined
story.
to get
yeah.
a motorbike.
But I wanted
now.
to say I got hit by a car.
Yeah, you got hit.
I was walking along.
Nicked on the
So I
wrist.
think that the rule is that you walk on the side of the road that has a sidewalk. That's the correct place. But then, and this is my own personal preference, is that if you are going to walk on the street, at least walk in the direction of traffic so you can see them coming. Because I couldn't see the car coming that hit me,
Yeah.
and then it got my arm.
Yeah.
And that hurt
Could have
for
been
a
a
long
lot
time.
worse too.
Yeah, they could have hit more than just my arm.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that's my fatherly advice is always walk in the direction of the traffic, or always walk against the direction rather,
Yeah.
because you want to see them coming. But I want to hear about your motorcycle story because you and Dustin rented a motorcycle, and then
Well, these were mopeds.
These were mopeds, yeah. I think
But
they were
still, they're
mopeds.
powerful. They're new and they're very
Yeah,
powerful. And
So,
go ahead, take
and-
it away, Aaron.
In any case, I want to just preface this by saying I'm a complete idiot. All right, and I made a very unwise decision. I have no experience driving on a moped, and I have no experience driving the left side of the road,
yeah.
and I have no experience driving in Indonesia, which is very different traffic, and also I have no insurance. So I'm a complete idiot. But
Well, you have travel insurance.
well, I don't think my insurance would cover
In fact,
this.
what kind
Well,
of travel insurance do you have? Is it?
yeah,
I believe it's
actually,
Alliant. Alliant.
We have travel, well, we have medical insurance, but if we had gotten our travel insurance policies, many of them do not cover motorcycles, so or mopeds. So that's something to really be aware
There's
of.
still a print out in the fields, close to the paddy fields, of where Aaron made a right turn, and
Yeah,
he
I was getting to that.
accelerating into a right turn, and he left a mark in the field where he landed. Luckily, he landed on somewhat of a soft landing.
Yeah.
In
It was
the-
a bush.
A
That
bush
could
in
have
the
been
high
bad.
grass, and then the people were so friendly. I turned my motorcycle or moped around, and I see a group of people just helping him out. People were
Yeah.
very quick to help
They
him.
are. And I should say Aaron is fine. He's a little sore.
Yeah,
but
I am
you're-
sore,
you're
but
okay.
I think I've learned my lesson in taking stupid risks. But in this case, transportation in Bali is hard.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest with ourselves. But, and this is one thing that I wanted to get to with when you were talking, Dustin, is if you're going to do transportation here, there's an app called Grab where you're able to get very well priced taxis. And also, if you're just one person traveling alone, then what you can do is you can literally get someone who's much more experienced driving a moped or a motorcycle. You can get on the back of that moped, and if you want an hour ride, it's like $6 US.
Yeah, and
it's
the
a
mopeds
very,
are faster because they can get around the cars.
Yep.
But it still is a risk that you're taking.
It's
and
still
if
a
you
risk.
have travel insurance, you should check to make sure that you're covered.
When can I get on one of these mopeds?
Oh no,
No, you can't because you don't
please.
have a driver's license.
I'm sure we
Um,
can figure something out.
But let's talk a little bit about what we like, because you guys hit on that before, is how helpful
Well,
people here are.
Yeah.
Is the friendliness of people is pretty amazing.
The other thing, I don't know if this might be just more neutral, but for other travelers who are considering going to Indonesia, specifically Bali, to understand, I talked to Aaron about this yesterday, about square mileage or the population density per square mileage.
You talked with me about that.
Oh, it was Iden. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, I got you guys mixed up. Literally, this is a quarter the size of like Austria, say, or third. It's tiny.
Yeah, it's a small
tiny,
island, yeah.
but it's 4.5 something, 4.7 million people, and that's not even including tourists. So it's there's a lot of people here,
Yeah.
and people are really. It's very small. It's smaller than Costa Rica, and so per square footage, no, square mile, there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Per
So-
square kilometer is what
It
Yeah.
is. It's pretty
Yeah.
densely.
It's very
people
dense.
are packed in here, and they seem. I mean, if you don't like crowds, I would not come here.
Yeah.
But really, the Balinese people are so friendly, and the food here is really good. Food in Bali, the Indonesian food is. I think we all like that, and we've been eating a lot of it. And the weather here is really great. It is pretty much year-round. It's like this, which is, 70s and 80s and maybe low 90s, but always a nice breeze going.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to deal with early 20s something, Australians or Brits
Right.
or
Russians.
And we're in
and then-
Canggu, I should say, which is a place where they all go. But
Yeah.
we were in Ubud earlier today, and that place is much more. It's like
Yeah.
authentic Bali, and there are fewer tourists.
Yeah, there's a lot of right where we're staying. There's a lot of Australian party goers who are in their early 20s, and they're out in the street, and they're looking for for extra fun.
They're looking for love, and
Yeah. Eat,
Dustin,
pray, love.
Yeah, eat, pray, love. You know what to do.
Yep. An interesting thing, though, is that they're not just here in the streets. We're right next to the beach. And that's a huge attraction for tourists.
Well, yeah, we could talk about the beach for a while, because Dustin's been in the water a couple of times. We've walked along the beach. It's a scene. It's definitely a scene here.
Yeah.
And the waves are really incredible.
Before we move on to talk about whatever else not, I think I wanted to mention some of the places that we've been to that we find very, very noteworthy. And one of the places I think that fits the bill is Synthwave Donuts. Now, this is a place we went to yesterday to have coffee.
Oh, that's a great place.
And it's a very interesting establishment. Dustin, why don't you talk about that?
Well, the background of the coffee bar is a pixel art, like a 16-bit pixel art, and it's a screen that is on a what would that be called?
It's a
loop.
GIF. It's like a loop,
GIF
yeah.
loop, yeah. And it's very cool. So for people who are interested in kind of a boutique-y experience, you have these coffee shops all over here, and this location that Aaron's talking about that we went to is very, very unique. So it's something you would, I don't know, straight out of a sci-fi book, if
And
you
the
will.
donuts are good too.
Oh, the donuts were delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, the food here, the donuts, amazing, and you can get some nice chai tea. And everything is spiced very well here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this has been a really, and we're going to be here for a while, so we'll have much more to report.
Mm-hmm.
But we should talk about your comments from last week. In our last podcast, I asked, have you ever had decision paralysis when it comes to choosing a destination? Like you couldn't decide where to go. Some countries offer so much in terms of attractions that choosing just one place is impossible. And I think that the United States is like that to a lot of people who come from outside, because they go, well, where should we go? Should we go to LA or Las Vegas or Chicago or New York or Miami? Those are such different places. So I asked that question and you answered. Sam says, decision paralysis is when we go to Norway and try to decide where to go. My husband wants to find the best skolebrod in Norway. You guys know what skolebrod is?
No, I probably shouldn't know what it is.
And she says she wants to stay in an isolated Rorbu in Narvik. You guys are half Norwegian. I don't know what any of us stuff is, but Sam, that sounds like a really difficult decision.
Language is not genetic, Dad. I have no idea what they're talking about.
Okay. Kath says, I'm in the middle of a decision paralysis right now. Maybe we can help her. Due to other travel and life, I have not scheduled a trip for fall, so now I'm checking last minute. But I'm being maybe a tad too picky. I have decided that I am no bucket list person. If the trip looks good, I will jump on it. I just haven't gotten the right vibe yet. Can't wait much longer. You know something? Actually, prices are coming down now for the rest of the summer, early fall, so you're going to find a really good deal, Kath. Do you guys have any recommendations? Dustin, you just were in Nepal and India. Anything there that you would recommend to someone?
Honestly, Goa, actually, southern India is really, really wonderful. And also another place to the east, a stone's throw away on an airplane, which if you're in that region and you can just go there, is the Maldives.
Oh, good diving there.
I really, it's a place you got to go before you pass on. And I think it really, it's one of those things. I don't know if I'll ever make it there, and then there's other places, obviously. There's coastal areas in Africa, but I'm trying to think in my head.
Like Seychelles, maybe.
Yeah, or even like Zanzibar or something.
Oh, yes.
I've
always wanted to go there.
Yeah, and of course for listeners too that might want to go, I honestly always thought that doing a guerrilla tour in Uganda or Rwanda would just be wonderful.
Yeah.
So those are things these are just little bucket list things of mine, but I always get excited maybe talking about those things because when you talk about them, the ideas kind of solidify in your head, and then maybe you start doing plans, and then and it happens, and all of a sudden it materializes in front of you. So yeah, that's what I think.
Boys, do you have any recommendations for Kath?
For summer destination? I was going to say Turkey, but then I remembered about all the earthquakes there. Though I don't think Alachata was affected. I don't think it was in the path. If it was, then don't go to Alachata.
Oh, are you talking about Turkey right now?
Yeah.
That's...
if not Turkey, then Cyprus, around that area. Mediterranean
Cyprus
climate.
is great.
Yeah.
Nice.
Israel's good too, but it gets really crowded in the summertime.
Cyprus
so
doesn't
wait
get
until
as
fall.
crowded, I would say.
Yeah.
And Cyprus is just as good, if not better. They got great food in Cyprus.
Aaron, I think that you probably would have recommended Cyprus too, if I'm not...
You guys really enjoyed Cyprus. Was good too.
Nicosia was a great
Cyprus was
place
kind
to
of
be.
like here, except that it was like, I don't know, it's strange. You can't really compare these places. But Cyprus is really great. Cyprus has something that most places don't.
Really?
It feels kind of like, it feels unadulterated. Even though the island's been split in half, it feels like it's pure and unique.
Not that touristy.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
And if you go to Cyprus, you have to cross the border and look around in the Turkish side because according to the locals, it's a terrorist state. You can't go there. It's only recognized by Turkey. No, it's actually a pretty chill place.
Yeah, and they actually have good food there too.
Really good food.
Yeah.
All of the architecture was frozen in time. So it looks like the architecture that was there back in like the 60s and 50s.
Yeah, really interesting place,
Yeah.
really fascinating. Our question of the week is, tell us about culture shock, climate shock, whatever. When you went from a place that was familiar to a place that was completely alien, a different planet. If you have gone to a different planet, I would like to hear about it. We've got some counselors standing by right now who can help you. I have never been to another planet, but I've always wanted to go. Anyway, that's it for us. We've got more next week on Bali. We're going to be here for a little while, so we'll have a full report. I'm glad you joined us. Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you. See you
All right.
soon.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.